Flintlock Siege of Dawn has finally released from A44 Games. It would garner huge amounts of attention for partnering with Sweet Baby Inc. to race swap the main character and have them handle the writing of the story. The game would finally release on July 17th with little fanfare and a promotional 10% off on Steam. Today, we're going to go over some common methods to measure estimated development costs and sales numbers. And after I finish running the numbers, things are looking beyond bad for A44 Games. Hey gang, I've been developing games for over a decade, and one thing that I wish for every game developer is career stability. We went from a relatively stable time in the games industry to suddenly forgetting who we're making games for, and that's led to huge layoffs across the industry. Sweet Baby Inc. and other similar companies came in and tried to fix video games so that they could be sold to a modern audience, and that's been a bit of an issue. But now that this promotional sale is over for Flintlock, we can expect that the PC sales on Steam for the game are going to fall off of a cliff. Now, this is because anyone that was interested in buying the game on Steam would have wanted to get in with that sales price and is probably not going to buy it until the next sale in a few months. So let's go over some numbers for Flintlock Siege of Dawn to make some estimates for the sales, the development cost, and how far they are from breaking even. To start out with the box price of $39.99, Flintlock will pay $12 or 30% to Sony, Steam, and Xbox, and an additional $2 or 5% to Unreal per copy sold. For the Steam version, we take off an extra $4 for the promotional of 10% off the game. This means they're getting only roughly $25.99 for console units sold or $21.99 per unit sold via Steam. You can buy a physical copy of the game. They sell a deluxe edition. My understanding is that the developer's only going to get about 50% of what it would sell for when they buy a physical copy. And for the purposes of our math, we're just going to assume the best case scenario, which is the digital sales numbers, which we're going to use today. Also note that the game is on Game Pass, which is going to skew our numbers a bit, but again, we're going to go with best case scenario. So next up, let's take a look at some cost estimates. A44 Games is based out of Wellington, New Zealand. Judging for the careers page on their website, all the jobs are on site in Wellington, which has a pretty high cost of living for New Zealand. Though, even with it being a high cost for New Zealand, it looks like an average software engineer salary is only about $55,000 USD, putting manpower costs for the company at a significantly lower rate than many US-based studios. So with this, we're going to go and put forth an estimate of around $65,000 USD per employee that works at the studio. This is going to cover salary, benefits, hardware, software licenses, and office space, which is usually very expensive. The studio launched a game in 2018 called Ashen and reported a core team of 30 people. We're going to round that up to 35 to account for any extra employees not considered core people on the game. And for the current employee size, I can't find a fixed number, but the estimates online put the studio size at about 57 people. That means from 2018 to 2024, they added an average of 3 hires per year until hitting 57 employees in 2024. A chart here shows the yearly cost estimates from that period. Keep in mind that the estimates here for 2024 is for a whole year. We can expect that there to be a little bit of time for them to do bug fixing for the next few months and live support for the game. Though I'm not sure that the studio is going to last until the end of the year, honestly. So with this, we have a total estimated cost of development at $20,280,000 USD. Now, how many units do we need to sell to even break even? If we're trying to recoup the cost for all of 2024, we need to sell 168,451 units via Steam with a sale, 142,535 via console, or some mix of the two. But if we want to pay for the entire estimated development cost of the game, that number goes up almost 5x to 922,048 Steam units on sale, or 780,195 console units, or a mixture of the two. Now, the next question would be, aside from having the studio come out and say how many units that they've sold, how do we as consumers make estimates as to how sales are going for a game? And with this, we can use something called the Boxleiter method. And the Boxleiter method looks at the reviews for a game and estimates that each review is representative of a number of sales. And with this, you see usually the number of like one review equaling maybe 20, 40, or even 60 sales. So we are going to take all three of those, 20, 40, and 60. We're going to go through those numbers on what kind of sales the game is going to need. So to start out, let's take a look at the reviews we have on each platform as of time of recording. Steam has 309 reviews, PS5 has 383, and Xbox is over 1,700. The disparity here is because Flintlock is on Game Pass, and we'll have a lot of people playing it there. You can go and look at some of the reviews now. Some of them are just saying, don't buy this because it's from Sweet Baby Inc. I don't consider that a person that's actually going to buy the game. They're more just making a protest review. So to get a guess of how many units that are sold on Xbox, what we're going to do is we're going to take the average between our Steam and PS5 numbers, and then we are going to multiply it by 0.75. And we're going to do that because there are reportedly about 120 million Xbox console sales, and also a guesstimate of about 30 million Game Pass subscribers. So that means of our potential maximum pool of 120 million Xbox players, only 3 in 4 of those Xbox owners would be required to purchase the game to play it. So we're going to take that average, we're going to multiply it by 0.75 and get a guesstimate for how many reviews we could assume are from people that actually purchased Flintlock on Xbox. This gives us an estimate of 260 reviews on Xbox from those users. This will give us a total review count of 952. Now let's take a look at how many reviews we expect to see just to break even. In this table, we have 3 columns. At the top are the Boxleiter factors of 20, 40, and 60 that we'll use to estimate how many each review counts for. And with this, just to recoup for 2024 in a best case scenario with each review accounting for 60 sales, we would need to see 2,376 reviews just for 2024. But if we want to recoup the entirety of our estimated development costs, we're looking at 13,004 reviews. So far, we only have 952 reviews by using our estimates. So with all that, let's take a look at what we see right now with our best case scenario of sales for our review count at 60 sales per review, and see what our net loss is for the game. And with those numbers, we can estimate that Flintlock has sold 57,120 units, making a bit over $1.4 million in net profit. And while those numbers would be great for a small indie studio, this is not a small indie studio. So once we deduct the cost of developing the game, I estimate the studio is $18.8 million in the hole. Now, all the calculations here are just to give a rough estimate of both the development costs and how you can go about gauging sales numbers. No marketing costs are estimated here. I assume that's going to be done by the publisher, Kepler Interactive. I'm going to put a copy of the spreadsheet in the description below in case you want to take a look, make a copy of it, run your own numbers, whatever you want to do there. If you think this stuff is interesting, helpful, or wildly off base, please leave a comment, a like, or a dislike. And while the math is imperfect, I cannot see any scenario where this is anything but a huge commercial failure. The moral of the story is, if Sweet Baby Inc. is involved, don't have high expectations. And if you enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe for other games-related content. And thank you for your time, and I hope to see you again in a future video. Farewell.